Hey GlamFam, Linwood here. This is not a Jerry curl, and let's dive right in. So if you saw my last video where I was talking about Devacurl, which was literally over a year ago, before all of this shenaniganery and this fiasco, whatever you want to say, with Devacurl started kind of forming all of that, I went ahead and I reviewed the line. Now, if you remember, that video was sponsored by Quaker Quick Grits because it looked like some grits and some oatmeal had gotten together and made it all over my scalp. My scalp had a heyday with those grits, and let me tell you, it was horrid. Now, I will say my hair did rather like the products. My scalp, however, did not enjoy it. And then, of course, now that video has gotten quite a bit of attention, things like that. People asking me for my current view on the products considering what has gone on, considering that my review last time was primarily positive with the exception of how it treated my scalp. So as a professional, as a cosmetologist and a cosmetology instructor, I wanted to deal with some of the different aspects of what I think about Devacurl with a bit more information from the professional perspective, as well as from a perspective of someone who has a 7-page packet from Devacurl stating their version of the tea. So let's dive right in. For those who don't know how I usually do these things, I'm always like the last to try to hop on this situation because I'm just not one to try to chase clout for views or try to be making videos that are trending. It's just not my thing. I do videos based off of the requests of my subscribers. It doesn't really make me famous, but whatever, it gets information out there. There's a number of different views that we kind of have to tackle with this, and I want to make sure that we look at it from multiple different angles. So for those who do not know or haven't seen this type of video from me before, I usually tackle things from the aspect of understanding the science of certain things, of looking at it from a professional perspective, and of applying common sense to the factor. That being said, a lot of y'all may end up offended, and some of y'all may be like, well, that does make sense. Okay, and Devacurl probably won't be happy in some ways, in other ways they might. Right, let's go ahead and dive right into the shenaniganery, the foolery, the extraness, the behind the scenes, the tea, the coffee, whatever you drink, the root beer, lemonade, I don't care. So for those who do not know, there has been an instance recently with some issues people have been having with Devacurl products. Devacurl is a sulfate-free line that is specialized specifically for curly hair or for hair with any type of curl pattern, be it fine, medium, coarse, anywhere from a loose wave up to a tight, kinky curl. Now, when I tried the product line, I tried out the Decadence line. I bought basically the trial kit of that plus the build-up buster, and there was one other product, I don't remember what it was, but I went ahead and used the trial set of that, which I got straight from my distributor as a professional cosmetologist, all that. Went ahead and tried the line out. As I stated, my hair did rather enjoy the products. My curls looked amazing. They were very shiny. They felt wonderful. My scalp, however, still felt like it had buildup on there. It had visible buildup and flakes on it, and it was just irritating to my scalp overall. Now, I did not experience any burning, no issues with the eyes, anything like that. This is my personal experience after using the product for 2 weeks, but I will say I'm one where I listen to what my scalp or my hair tells me. If it agrees with my hair and not my scalp, that's a no. If it agrees with my scalp and not my hair, also a no. If it agrees with me and not my pocketbook, a heck no. This was definitely an instance where my hair was agreeing with the product, but my scalp was not. And for those who do not know, if you start using any product, I don't care how good it is or how good it is for anyone else, I need you to realize that if your scalp starts to flake or starts to have issues with this product, there's usually some degree of issue. Now, in my instance, when I started using the Devacurl products, I thought maybe there's some buildup on there. So I got the buildup blaster, which was supposed to be for that, and went ahead and utilized that. But as I stated in my last video, I still had issues. That being said, I didn't feel like buildup was necessarily the issue with that, but I did notice that this line was full of tons of conditioners, basically. Now, there have been many different complaints from people saying that they have lost their curl pattern, to people having issue with dryness, to seeing flaky scalps, to straight up hair loss and baldness. And I feel like some of these things are probably true. Other things I think is honestly influencers or YouTubers trying to hop on the bandwagon for views. And I say that primarily because I have seen some videos with people where they clearly have had color done since their before photo, where it's like their hair is significantly lighter. You can tell it's been bleached multiple times, things like that. That is something that's damaging to curls and will cause your curl pattern to loosen. It will cause your hair to be more dry. It will cause your hair to be more frizzy. And in some of their instances, they did even bring that up and say, well, they had their hair colored by a professional. You can have your hair colored by a professional and still end up doing a lot to damage your curl pattern. Same thing goes if you're using heat on your hair on a regular, if you're using heat that is too high, even if you're not doing it regularly, if you use a temperature that's too high for your fabric of hair, you can have an issue with that as well. That is an aspect that I want want people to consider and to keep in mind. When it comes down to people seeing their curl patterns loosen or those curls begin to droop, the one issue that I did notice when I was looking through the products in the lines, I didn't ever see anything that was for reconstructing, for protein, anything like that. And they may well have a product like that. I just didn't come across it. Everything that I came across was really moisturizing, which is great. Curly hair usually loves moisture. But the problem is your hair can go through a process of what's called hygrowth fatigue, especially if you're not getting a good amount of protein balance in the hair and you're constantly drowning with moisture. You're never going in to apply protein. Now, I have had someone, even in my comments as of recently, try to state that natural hair doesn't need protein. That's a lie from the pits of hell. Long story short, all hair needs protein because all hair is made up of protein. Now, curly hair predominantly tends to need moisture because it loses moisture really easily, and we have a lesser amount of moisture in hair than we do protein. So when you lose, let's say 2% of your moisture, it's a lot more detrimental than losing 2% of your protein, considering that 70 to 80% of your hair is protein and the other percentage is your moisture. So you've got a lot that's going on there. I'll let you kind of figure out the numbers and use the common sense there as it goes. However, please do not confuse any of this from me saying like I'm rooting for Devacurl, whatever the case may be, because when it comes down to it, they do have this packet here, and I'm going to go through some of this with you. I'm not going to read it page by page because honestly, a lot of it is not necessary. If you have an issue where your curls begin to droop, and this is with any line, not just with something like Devacurl, especially if you're one that co-washes a lot or you condition a lot, you're constantly wetting the hair, you may notice that your curls don't pop like they used to. A lot of times if you begin to notice that at any varying degree, I would recommend that not just putting a moisturizing conditioner in there, that you also put a reconstructor or a protein-based conditioner into the mix and deep condition with that from time to time, maybe about once every month to month and a half. It helps to keep those curls strong and it helps to keep them popping like they used to because all hair needs protein. I've explained this to some degree before in terms of finding your proper protein moisture balance on this channel. Some of that ties into an aspect of thinking of your hair as a spaghetti noodle. If a spaghetti noodle has too much protein and not enough moisture, it's going to break really easily, and you see tons of breakage. Little bitty pieces will pop off. You can't twirl it with a fork without it breaking, things like that. These hands are going crazy today. But if there's too much moisture and not enough protein, usually the hair or the noodle will shred. It tears really easy, so even if you're combing and manipulating, you're still losing structure and strength to that hair, that curl, that fabric, that noodle, whatever the case may be. You want that perfect al dente mix where it's got a good amount of moisture, still a good amount of protein that can handle some abuse. That being said, while usually yes, if your hair is chemically processed, if it has been bleached, colored, anything like that, or if you're using heat, you're going to need protein quite a bit more frequently than you would if your hair is completely natural and you're not doing these abusive treatments to it. But all hair at some point needs protein. All hair. Period. Point blank. End of sentence. Feel however you want to feel. That's fine. Another issue that I have is the fact that, to be quite honest, co-washing is really not a great method of cleansing. It is typically a conditioner, and these are things that are just adding moisture to the hair. And some people would argue that there is some shampoo in co-washes, which basically would make it a 2-in-1, which is still not that effective because shampoo's job is to remove, conditioner's job is to put back. It doesn't make sense. It makes as much sense as people saying that they put nail polish remover in their nail polish to thin it out. Nail polish remover inside of the thing it's supposed to remove doesn't make sense, but that's for a whole nother video. Shampoo inside of your conditioner doesn't make a lot of sense either. This is the part where we begin to apply some common sense. So if you're using cleansers inside of this conditioning agent, while yes, you may feel a little bit more clean, a little bit more conditioned, in that instance, I would still recommend conditioning afterwards if there's a cleanser mixed in, because it's not going to moisturize your hair as well as it should. That's a whole separate video as well. I don't really care for 2-in-1s. The best way to use a co-wash, honestly, is if you are someone who sweats really heavily, if you're high porosity, if your hair is rather dry and has been through quite a bit of an abusive process, you've been sweating, things like that in the hair, and you just need something to stretch you from shampoo to shampoo and keep your moisture balance high. Basically, the co-wash's job is you're rinsing the hair, so you're getting some dirt and debris out of the hair, you're getting some sweat, things like that out of the hair, and you're putting a conditioner on there strictly to raise your moisture balance back up without stripping any other moisture out with a shampoo. It's great for that in between to stretch you in there, especially if you tend to sweat really heavily, because sweat does dry the hair and the scalp out. Co-washing is great for that. I would not use co-washing, which is essentially washing the hair with conditioner, on a regular basis, because it makes about as much sense as it does to hop in the shower and wash your body with conditioner. While it may make your skin feel soft, you're not really doing much to get clean. And even if there are certain surfactants and things in there, it's not going to be as effective as it would be if you use a proper cleanser on the hair. For those who are questioning this or feel like there may be an issue with what I have to say on this, you can also look at another line that did specifically co-washing, which was Win, that was having very similar issues with their products several years back as well. I'm just gonna say, if you start noticing that you're having the same products with the same type of issues over a course of time, it sounds like history repeating itself. At some point, we gotta learn a lesson and apply some common sense. Now, with Devacurl's packet they sent, this 7-page packet. I'm sending you a 7-page letter. In this packet, they say a number of different things, saying that they have a number of different quality, regulatory assurance standards that they put their products through. They talk about how they have this professional curl council that is trusted medical professionals, dermatologists, independent industry experts, professional stylists, and members of our curl community to help us all better understand healthy curls and scalp. They develop curly care resources for you and stylist professionals, including information about curl and scalp health using Devacurl products. I have to pause here because I have had people recently tell me that the reason why I was having issues with my scalp was because I did not consult a licensed professional and I didn't get my products from a licensed professional before I used them in my video. Now, I will say this: if I am not piling product on my scalp and the only thing I placed on my scalp was the product that was used for cleansing, then I can't be using too many products on my scalp to cause issues with my scalp. Number 2, I'm a licensed professional. Number 3, I purchased it from a distributor for licensed professionals. So the issues that I had cannot be tied back into, well, you bought this from someone who's not an authorized distributor, because I'm an authorized distributor. That being said, some of these issues cannot just be passed off as this is because you bought product that is possibly counterfeited, or that you may have gotten out of the grocery store, out of wherever else that's not an authorized distributor, because I got it straight from the distributor that gets it straight from the source. So I just kind of feel like when it comes down to certain stuff like that, while that may be a spin that Devacurl is giving to things, or that some of their supporters are giving things, it doesn't necessarily have a lot of weight for me, because when it comes down to it, I know exactly where I purchased the product from. I have the literal receipt for it, not just the receipts as we say here online. So that being said, it's not that's not a valid argument, and I wouldn't stand behind that, and I rebuke it in the name of Jesus. Anyway, so let's flip on to the next page here and we can go ahead and discuss some of the different things. On this one here, they're talking about some of the different messaging and things that they've sent to people. They did include on here some of the different messages that they have sent to people and different responses on their website or their microsite that they placed up to be able to give people responses on some of the issues that they've been having and trying to get on top of this issue. And I do believe that Devacurl is trying to get on top of this issue, because honestly, it would be to their detriment not to try to get on top of it. I do believe they're going through rigorous testing and things like that of their products presently. But to me, I feel like if you're noticing some of the same issues that you had with other companies that are specifically known for co-washing, I think at some point we have to look at the science of how healthy this is for your skin, for your scalp, things like that, to be only co-washing over a long course of time without going in and doing any type of cleansing, things like that. Or there may just be like certain products in the line that are just not that great, or maybe it just doesn't mix well with certain people's waters, medications, things like that. I don't know. That part is definitely above my pay grade.
It's above me now. It's above me. Sorry. The best restaurant is next door.
So I'm not going to pretend to be a scientist here. I feel like you're not hearing a lot from Devacurl right now, because when it comes down to it, there is a class action lawsuit going on. And if there's usually an instance where you're involved in legal matters, things like that, you're typically advised not to really say a lot, because number one, things that you can say can be incriminating. Number two, there are certain things that you're not legally allowed to discuss because of things being in mitigation. So there can be a number of different aspects or areas of issue, things like that with this, that you kind of have to look at with that. So I feel like the reason why we're not hearing a ton from them is likely due to the legal aspect of things. But the thing that gets me is, while they're doing all of this, it looks like to me as a consumer and as a stylist, is it looks very nonchalant, that it's like, okay, you're still trying to promote your products without first addressing the issue to the extent that would satisfy people, of saying, you know what, if we're noticing that majority of people are having issues with this, we're going to pool it until we have gotten this issue taken care of. And if we have to reformulate and all that from scratch, even if it was a good line and all that, just to help instill people's faith back in our product, to know that we stand behind our stuff we'll go ahead and do that. But I feel like their approach to this has been, we stand behind our products, so we're going to continue selling it. We're going to continue leaving it on the shelves, which I understand from a certain perspective. But when you have a massive amount of people saying that something has happened and you've waited so long to put out any degree of statement whatsoever, and then you still haven't really addressed the issue, and then everything that you're saying is our stuff is completely 100% safe, and you're throwing it onto the whole distributor piece, that part for me is where it kind of becomes a little questionable, because at some point I need you to say, you know what, we are pulling stock or doing a recall, and we'll be replacing these old bottles with new bottles just in case there is something that was tainted or something like that, whatever the case may be. And then they could easily go through a process of, okay, well, hey, you know, send us this and we'll go ahead and replace it, or whatever the case may be. I just feel like there's other ways, there's other companies that have done this where they have noticed an issue with their product before it even really got out to consumers. And some companies, cosmetic wise, have even issued immediate refunds to people who have ordered from their website, just based off of the fact that it's like, okay, we know this is out, and even though you may not have complained, even though you may not have had an issue, we still want to replace the product and make sure that we're doing everything on our end to save face and to make sure that, you know, we stand behind our product and we stand behind the quality that we say that we have. Lord, that's a mouthful. I'm trying to talk about this a little bit quicker, so I feel like I'm rushing through information. I apologize for that, but this video is really long to me already, and I just feel like there's a lot of information to cover. I don't want you to feel like you've been here for infinity bajillion years in order to get it, so if I'm going too fast, I do apologize. Nonetheless, let's move on. Here they state that they have gone through multiple different types of testing. They've got what looks to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different types of tests that they have here. They have stability testing, and it says this test exposes our products to a range of temperatures, including cold, freezing, and ambient temperatures from 60 to 78 degrees Fahrenheit and extreme heat for several months to ensure stability. We check the product's pH, viscosity, odor, and appearance to confirm that each remains stable under these various conditions. So this is basically trying to go against this theory that people have about it possibly being in a place that is maybe too hot, things like that, and that maybe it's causing a chemical change in the products. It does not necessarily deal with the idea that people have been having of certain things from the bottles potentially seeping into the product. I mean, you can't even leave a bottle of water in a hot car without them saying that some of the different things from the plastic begin to seep in. So I can see some people's concerns with that, but I would also be concerned that if that was the case, that would be the case with multiple companies, not just with Devacurl, playing devil's advocate there in terms of the packaging piece. It says that they've gone through microbiological challenge testing. This test involves exposing products to bacteria to ensure our ingredients are doing their job to keep product safe from contamination. We use non-toxic effective preservatives to keep the product safe and to keep you safe. They go through human repeat insult patch test. This test is performed on people's skin to test for irritation and allergy potential to confirm that it's safe for use. I'm assuming, since it says human repeat insult, that this is something where you are putting it in the same place, not just on the same person, over a long period of time, that you're doing this over and over again, because sometimes you can see issues where if you're exposing yourself to certain chemicals repeatedly, you can notice some sensitivities develop, which is called contact dermatitis. You can have issues with that over time, and that can happen with literally any chemical that you encounter. This is why sometimes you can begin using something and it doesn't bother the skin, but over continued use with it, you can begin to notice some irritation, some sensitivity, some chemical burning, things like that on the skin. Is due to contact dermatitis and increased prolonged exposures to certain products. So this is basically what they're saying that they're doing. Ocular testing, which is basically making sure it's not harmful to the eyes. I don't know what they're doing to this, but I hope to God they're not slathering products on people's eyeballs, because ain't nobody got time for that. My corneas are precious, so are my retinas. So packaging compatibility test. This test confirms that there are no reactions between the package and the formula over a period of several months at extreme heat conditions. This piece deals with the idea of them being into a warehouse that's not well conditioned in terms of heat, cool, whatever the case may be, and saying that things aren't seeping into the product. So they're stating that they've done that as well. Product storage. We also store all our products in an ambient temperature from 60 to 78 degrees in a warehouse based on industry standards and confirmed by our testing protocols. And then it says additional evaluations for Devacurl product before each batch is released for distributing to salons, retailers, or customers. The batch is evaluated and tested for appearance, odor, pH, viscosity, and passes additional microbiological testing. I feel like, considering how my scalp reacted to it, some of this somewhere has to be inaccurate. This might be stuff they're currently doing to combat, stuff they're currently changing to take care of. And I say this because, how can I safely put this? Sometimes you will see where, in the face of legal issues, certain knee-jerk changes will be made so we can say that we are doing these things or we have done these things just to kind of CYA or cover your own behind, so to speak. And some of this could likely be that, but I don't know. And that's something that is totally behind the scenes, whatever the case may be. I just feel like it's quite questionable that I'm hearing of different influencers that once were influencers for the company that were no longer influencers and then were later contacted and asked to be influencers yet again after the whole debacle started taking place. It's just, there's a lot of questionability, especially considering that from what I understand, they recently changed ownership within the past year or two. So that's something to consider as well. And a lot of times with changes in companies, you can't see changes in products, as was the case with Shea Moisture. Many of their products did change in consistency and product and composition. So it's something that's quite common, and Shea Moisture is not owned by the people who initially owned it anymore. So that is something for people to keep in mind, even within that brand there, that you can see certain changes in quality, things like that. So it's good to always stay up on your products and consistently make sure that you are reading the backs of your products, that you're checking your ingredients, ensuring that your products are safe. Unfortunately, it is our job as consumers to make sure that we're doing what is safe for our own bodies. And while it doesn't seem like it should have to be that way, unfortunately it is. And the best way that we can combat some of these companies is to be as educated a consumer as possible. The problematic area is with that, there's some things that are just, we're blind to, and there are other things that are, there's tons of information out online, and some of it is opinion that's stated as fact, and it happens quite frequently, especially considering a lot of people are doing their research here on YouTube. Then this next page says that, are there ingredients in your products which we call hair loss? They said, no, all of our products are designed to be nourishing and hydrating for every curl type and are focused on sourcing high quality, good for curls ingredients only. To me, saying that something is good for curls does not necessarily imply its health on the scalp, but it's okay. And then they give like this massive list of things that you'll never see in a Devacurl product, and I don't feel like reading them all, so I'll just go ahead and show you guys. This is the massive list, and it continues on the next page of things that you can never expect in their products. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, have you reformulated any products? This part here says we occasionally update our products and their ingredients to enhance performance of the product or comply with the latest regulatory requirements. Long story short, yes, we change the ingredients in our products, and some of that can be finding things that are cheaper, changing ingredients in terms of finding different suppliers, things like that. Unfortunately, I feel like there's not as much regulation in the health and beauty industry as what people frequently expect that there is or should be, and a lot of times some of these different entities or agencies don't hop in until there is issue, so it makes selecting certain products difficult. But I will tell you this, if your scalp or your hair is speaking in terms of like, okay, I'm dry, I'm flaking, I'm crusty, these are things for you to look out for. Even if it's a good product and it's working great for your friends, it doesn't mean that it's working out great for you. And just because these issues are going on doesn't mean that it's going to go on with every head of hair. For instance, those who know my best friend here on YouTube, Makeup Mina Ree, when I used those products, they didn't get along with my scalp. So I went ahead and gave them to her for her to try out. Her husband started using them, and he's been agreeing with them just fine. Hasn't seen any damage, no hair loss, no issues with his scalp, nothing like that. It got along perfectly fine with him. I, however, have more of a sensitive scalp than most people. So this could be something that's impacting those that have more sensitive skin. There could be an ingredient in there that's a little bit more likely to cause irritation in those with sensitive skin. That may be an aspect to look at as well. These are things that I feel like need to be kind of looked at by the company. These are things that need to be considered by consumers, because I'm not just about this whole huge cancel culture, hop on board, whatever, because you heard it on YouTube, because it's trending on YouTube, because sometimes people are doing things strictly for views. But I will say, I cannot side fully with Devacurl because I've had personal experience with the issues that I had on my scalp, and these are things that I've heard people saying that is going on. And especially if your scalp is itching, is flaking, and you're scratching due to that itching and flaking, you cause any type of scar tissue, boom, you can create hair loss. Hair does not grow through scars. So there are possibilities for things like that to happen, but it's literally with any potential product that causes irritation to your scalp. But there's a number of different aspects that we could look at with this. So some of it I feel like could likely be some degree of user error or an absence of common sense from people, where if your scalp began to kind of indicate that it's not agreeing with it and you continued use, it kind of falls on you there. Because if you're noticing that something doesn't agree with you, like if you eat something and it consistently gives you heartburn, don't eat that. heartburn or pain in general is a sign that you shouldn't be doing something. So these are just things to consider. What else could be causing these problems? Reported with hair and scalp health, and they said we are actively seeking expert help and will be creating a professional curl care council of trusted medical professionals, dermatologists, independent industry leaders. Now hold on, pause. Wait just a moment, because here, if you'll notice, and this is where I was talking to you guys about the wording and how sometimes things happen and they'll say that they've been doing something as a knee-jerk reaction to an issue that's going on. So if you'll notice here, it says we are actively seeking expert help and will be creating a professional curl care council. Let me rewind back to the first page. Let's see here. We are committed to creating a professional curl care council of trusted professionals, dermatologists, blah, blah, blah. So it says here that we are committed to. We are committed to makes it sound like we are committed to never having this in our product. It implies that we've been doing this for a minute. This doesn't say we are committed to in terms of we've been doing this for a minute. This is we are committed to in terms of this is what we're working on. And I feel like the transparency there needs to be much more clear, because while sure it's essentially saying the same thing, it's a way of wording it that implies something different. Whereas right here, this is stating we are actively seeking. My camera died because I was talking entirely too much and my SD card got full. Long story short, they created or are professionally creating this professional curl care community so that they can try to help get answers. But long story short, when you're asking what else could be causing these reported problems, this is their professional way of saying, I don't know. But then the interesting thing is they go on to say, should I stop using your products? No. You can continue to use Devacurl products with confidence, as all products are safe to use. This is an area where I feel like, sure, that might be the right answer for them to say, quote unquote, from a business perspective. But at least if you're noticing a lot of people are having issues with the no poo, at least say, you know, we're looking into reformulating the no poo just to ensure that we are making it optimally safe. Some people would say that doing so would be an admission of guilt, and I can understand that as well. But to me, failing to take action in that respect, when you're seeing that this is a complaint that people are having and saying that you're not going to make any changes because you've done quality tests, when you've got so many thousands of people saying that they're having these issues, I also don't feel like is wise or good for business. To me, there's no way that Devacurl can come out of this without having some degree of damage done to their business as a result. It just is what it is. Unless this individual who's getting it is not online, especially when you have stylists that were Devacurl stylists that are now advising their entire clientele, which as a stylist puts your own reputation on the line, because you're the one who recommended these products for that client. You're the one who made videos online. You're the one who's showing how to use these things on your hair, whatever the case may be. And in some instances where these influencers are having issues with their hair being damaged, this is also damaging their livelihood, because while sitting in front of a camera may seem like a cush job to a lot of people, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that goes on with influencers in terms of having to basically be their own marketing managers, be their own content creators, be their own editing crew, being graphic designers, everything, and still be able to try out these different products, make sure they're filming them, learning about cameras and lighting and all that. Like, you are the entire crew, not just someone sitting in front of a camera. So it's something where it's like, okay, not only all of that, but it also impacts your reputation of next time you end up recommending something as an influencer because you do like the way it works. Will people trust you the same way they did before, despite the fact that you weren't doing this in a scandalous way? Like, you weren't faking results, and even if you were, why would you continue to use a product if it was going to lead to you losing your curls, your hair loss, things like that, and you knew that in advance? So, but unfortunately, not everyone online looks at things with common sense, so that's neither here nor there. What should I do if I experience hair loss or scalp problems? This is the best part of this entire packet. As with any cosmetic product, if you have a negative experience, e.g. itchy scalp, that you think may be related to use, you should stop using the product. If you experience hair loss, you should contact your healthcare provider or your dermatologist. Now, this piece here, they could have easily released that, and I would have been so happy, because that is literally the best, most common sense answer of, if you start experiencing any issues with any product, stop using them. If you experience any issue, I don't care if it's soap, I don't care if it's lotion, like, Child, I tried a lotion from Quench back in the day because I was watching America's Next Top Model and it was the Olay Quench whatever, and I was like, oh, it looks super moisturizing. Tried it. Baby, it made my skin itch from the inside out. I will never use it again, and honestly, I don't trust anything out of the Olay line because of it, because it irritated my skin so bad, and I don't know if they may have used the same ingredients from that and anything else in their formulations. So it's not that I have any issues with their brand, I just know it didn't agree with me and I would not use it again. It's a common sense issue. And then they did go on to state that if you're having hair loss or experiencing hair loss, that you should contact your healthcare provider or your dermatologist. That honestly would be wise, because then your dermatologist can help you to discover, okay, could this be something that's due to a product that you're exposing yourself to? Could this be tied to a bigger issue, especially if you're on blood pressure medications, if you're on thyroid medications, if you're on heart medication, if you are recently having like any type of children, or you're going through menopause, any type of hormonal change, you can see hair loss around this area here. If you're having traction alopecia from pulling your hair too tight, if you're having hair loss up here on the top of the head, this would touch the medications I was referring to earlier. So usually if you're seeing hair loss, you can notice that there are different areas that are impacted, and a lot of times the dermatologist will be able to help you narrow down exactly what it is, because sometimes it could be something like an autoimmune disorder. There can be a number of different things that go on. So to me, regardless of whether it's with this product or just in life in general, if you begin to notice hair loss in any way, shape, or form, you need to stop doing what you're doing, seek help from a dermatologist, see if you can figure out what the issue is, because sometimes it is something that ties to your health, sometimes it ties to mechanical styling or pulling on the hair, and sometimes it ties to genetics. There can be a number of different factors. A dermatologist can help you to narrow those things down, so you're not steadily changing up products trying to find what's working and just thinking that the whole world is against you, or you have some crazy ingredient in your water, when truth be told, it could be a health condition that really needs to be treated, or it could be a side effect to a medication that you're on. Lord, my mouth is dry. Okay, so let's see here. Are you considering a recall? No. Based on all the evidence we have, which includes independent testing of our products, blah, 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 we stand by the quality and safety of our products. Is Devacurl offering refunds? On this part here, this is the part that I feel like is important. I wish they would broadcast it more. But this says, we always want our Diva community to be satisfied with their Devacurl products, which is why we are offering refunds. Please reach out to our customer care team at customercare@devacurl.com to get started on your return. Where can I learn more on hair and scalp health? There are many different factors. So basically, the American Academy of Dermatology at aad.org. Find a board certified dermatologist in your area at findaderm.aad.org. So basically the same website, just find a dermatologist through there. They're committed through creating, oh my gosh, and here we go again to we're committed to creating this professional curly hair council. So long story short, that is their response to it, and that's the issue there. My advice to you would be this: until all this is sorted out, if you were thinking about trying out Devacurl right now, I would not personally recommend it until whatever class action lawsuit and things is completely over with, simply for the fact that it's like, okay, well, that's something that I would not recommend saying, okay, well, let's jump into this. If you're currently using it and you haven't had any of these issues, I wouldn't say throw away all your stuff. But if you're having any degree of issue, if you're noticing that your curl is in any way changing, or that you are experiencing hair loss, that your scalp is irritated, stop using the products, and that's with any product that you're using, and go ahead and tackle it from that instance. I still stand behind what I've been saying for years. I don't agree with co-washing as being your standard method for cleansing, and that opinion will probably never change. You can love me, you can hate me, you can unsubscribe, you can feel however you want to feel about it, but that's my thoughts on that. As far as it goes, I don't feel like Devacurl is completely in the wrong here. I feel like some of this extra hype and some of this extraness with people being scared can tie into certain people trying to hop on the bandwagon and hop on this trend. I've seen pictures where it looks like people have gone from having their hair like this to like brushing their hair out and posting an after picture like. And to me, that's ridiculous. It's trolling, and it's putting a company at risk. It's putting all of their employees at risk. It's something where it could be potentially damaging livelihood so you can get views. Now, for these people that are actually showing like, look, this is what happened to my hair. This is what's going on. I was not using any form of heat. I was only using this product here. I was doing this and that. I was doing everything that they told me to do. Like, to me, I feel like these are reasonable type of things that you should be seeing, and that's where my concern is sparked. That being said, if you have any additional comments, concerns, things like that, or if you have certain areas that kind of hit home a bit more than others or really spoke to you, please make sure to leave them down in the comment box below. Until next time, you guys, take care, God bless, and stay glam. And I hope that this season of quarantine finds you in good health. I'll see you later. Take care, God bless, and stay glam. You know I love you.